Oh man, another great week beginning. Adam, what are you wearing? Is it an ordinal shirt?
It's my ordinals to zero shirt. Ugh, my brain. More coffee. Yeah, I don't know. I just like I liked when, what was it? I guess it was Frank D God. Somebody in the D Gods community made a D Gods to zero shirt, which I really liked. So I mimicked it for ordinals, Ethereum, all my favorite projects. I like to send to zero because zero means bull market's incoming. By the way, did you see Frank is given over control of D Gods to, I don't know, some other team members? So apparently he's out. The classic handover move to absolve yourself of all past sins. So sorry to see Frank go.
Yeah, it was written in the books. We all knew it was coming. Chris, what's good, bro? Good to see you.
What's good? Yo, I'm just gonna say it. I think Adam has the best Web3 crypto merch out of anyone. I think he's the best dressed in Web3. Whenever that poll comes about, we're gonna have to put him up there. I think he's the champ.
Well, we do have, for the Bells community listening in, we do have the Bell hats have now landed in Vegas. So Chris, I believe, is heading over to Jake's house later today. Going to pick him up some Bells hats.
Let's go.
He's going to save a few though, so get ready. Bitcoin Vegas, Litecoin Summit, the Bells hats are going to be everywhere. So this is going to be fun.
Yeah, I am excited. And this conversation is going to be a lot of fun as well. I came across Jason and Senpi I think a few weeks ago, and noticed that they are building something very similar, to what we're building. So I always love, we love connecting with other builders in the industry. They have automated trading, and he's on base, and they just went live at Token 2049 in Dubai, dude. Really cool presentation. So, dude, Jason, appreciate you for spending your time with us and coming to hang for an hour.
Thanks so much for having me. Excited to be here.
Yeah, man. We could just start straight from the top. Our community, Agent Hustle, it's a similar DeFi AI project, but on Solana, you decided to go on to base. But I was listening to your presentation from Dubai, and you mentioned that you had been building in the AI space for 4 years in crypto already, which is pretty much unheard of, right? No,
Yeah.
AI didn't exist until meme coins started popping up. So I'd love to hear the story of how you were so early to just understanding that AI would be something very important in crypto 4 years ago.
Yeah. So first of all, thanks so much. So yeah, my name's Jason, Beta Shop on X, or in Farcaster if you're there. Yeah. So look, my co-founders and I, we've been building in Ethereum actually since 2016. So we're crazy early. We wanted to build decentralized social back in 2016, and we started to realize that okay, well, you couldn't run social networks on Ethereum, and so we started building layer 2 technologies for faster transactions, and then we started building. Really, we're very focused on like product and user experience. We started building really kind of innovative kind of wallet UX and kind of thinking about how users could interact with crypto in ways that abstracts away all the icky stuff. And so, yeah, in 2018, we launched an app called Peepo, which we won the best UX at DevCon in Osaka that year, which was like a crypto TikTok way before its time. But the cool thing about that is it was the first app in the App Store that had a embedded smart contract wallet in the app. And we maneuvered with Apple for a couple of months to get them to accept it. And so that was pretty cool. We had about 10,000 active users. And so let's see, for the last 4 years, we've been building a kind of like the intersection of crypto, data, social, AI. Yeah, and I say when we say that we've been building crypto and AI before it was cool, we saw an opportunity to start using AI to enabling efficient kind of searching of blockchains. The first product we launched with that was at the end of 2022. We had basically we launched a search engine for Farcaster using AI. And so we were leveraging all the fact that all this Farcaster data was on chain and using LLM models to basically just search and vector models to search for that as well. And then in April of 2023, we launched Airstack, which was our kind of flagship property for kind of the company that I run, which is the underpinnings of Senpi, which we launched most recently, a token. But Airstack essentially is AI searching of blockchains. Back in 2023, we launched it so that you could essentially search, let's say, show me tokens in common across different people, different ENS or different identities. You could see what tokens are trending, and essentially just using like language as the interface for intelligence, but then also analyze. AI is really good at analyzing like tons of data, and so we cut our teeth on that back in 23 and 2024. And the one thing we always wanted to do that we felt like it wasn't ready for yet. So back then, all the searching that we did of the blockchains was the result of it wasn't really consumer facing, it was developer facing. So developers could write in a query that said, show me tokens that are trending in the last 1 hour on base and their, relative and their market caps or their price movements or net buy volume. And then I would spit out a GraphQL kind of API. And we always wanted to do a consumer-facing product. It was too soon. And we actually even built our own brags. So for those who aren't familiar, we built our own kind of like our own AI models for it. It wasn't using ChatGPT or Anthropic back then. And so we started working on searching blockchains way early. And then for the last 6 months, I'd say, so since October of last year, we started saying, okay, we felt the time was right to kind of take everything that our team had done and built and learned. And we were really early on base, really on Farcaster, really early on crypto and AI, really early on kind of user experience of crypto, and take all of it and put it into kind of a product that enables you to use AI to get alpha and to auto trade and really saw as like the future of kind of decentralized wallets and decentralized trading. And yeah, that's what Senpi is, which we launched 2 weeks ago. And we had a beta for about 3 months before that. We got a lot of good usage and feedback. And then we launched this brand new brand, Senpi. Senpi is from the Japanese word for senpai, and so senpi.ai, and it's live today. And what's cool is that it works. Like the product's fully live today. People are using it, and we're rapidly adding more features to it. We can talk about some of the usage data, some of the features, but I'll set up and let you guys ask me some questions or go have everyone do it. I can just go on forever. Yeah.
Hey man, that's how we know you're excited and passionate about your product. We're exactly, the same boat here. I'd love to hear, some of the numbers and statistics from since you launched about a few weeks ago.
Yeah, so we went live at Token 2049 Dubai. It was a cool setting to, first of all, tons of great energy at Token. The whole world was there. It really felt like, and our team actually, we have team members in Dubai, in India, in the US, Canada, and we've actually converged on Dubai many times over the last few years. And what struck me the most about Token this year was, it just really felt like crypto took over the entire city. And if you imagine like a large city, like New York or Hong Kong or Tokyo, like Dubai is like that scale of a city, and I feel like crypto everywhere is how it felt. So it was a great setting for us to launch Senpi. There was a number of crypto AI events there. I actually gave keynotes at 2 of them. And so we launched their live product. I'll go through some of the features, what you can do with it. The highlight of it is Senpi helps you get alpha and then can auto trade on that alpha. And the type of auto trade you can do is everything ranging from, automated limit orders. So if a token falls by 30%, automatically buy it for me or automatically take profits, to much more sophisticated things such as find all the people who have made the most profit on a token, add them to a group. If anybody in that group buys a token, buy it for me. Or let's say if 3 people in the group buy more than $1,000 a token within 5 minutes of each other, so let's say they're all getting it early, then buy me the token. So really cool, sophisticated kind of AI powered automation. And the whole idea here is that Senpi is thinking for you and acting for you, so you can actually not have to be, kind of tracking the market at all times. And I'll go into like who our target user is and that kind of stuff. But coolest thing, catch my breath here. The coolest thing is since launching, I guess it's about 2 weeks ago. It was Tuesday, 2 weeks ago. There's been about $250,000 worth of volume traded by Senpi AI agents. And the week over week growth is 1,300% right now. And obviously it's on a small base, but it's 8,300 trades. And we've also, so we use, right now we route all of our swaps through 0x and all of our limit orders through Cow. And within the first, basically we launched, I guess it was April 29th. For the month of May, we're the #1 by far AI agent engine on Cow protocol processing kind of limit orders. And we're one of the fastest of all growing swap providers on 0x right now.
That's amazing. This is Adam. Sorry to cut you off, Jake. This is Adam, by the way, chatting through Jake's mic. And I love that you're sharing like real numbers. We've chatted with people, and they're, we have 250,000 users, and it's like, bro, shut up, bro. There aren't even 250,000 people.
It's really cool to have live product. If I tell you, for anyone who's like giving a question, we have we call it the dojo. We have a Telegram group for Senpi users. When you're in Senpi, you can click the dojo. And the coolest thing is like the users are asking questions nonstop, and like you see, people are using it and they're making money from it too, which is the coolest thing.
Yeah, for sure, man. I'm not a tech, I'm not a dev, but from a high level, like from a, just a general user perspective, how do you like kind of automate trades and make it so, the AI agent's not going to basically screw it up? Like what's your kind of strategy for doing that?
Yeah, there's a lot of things that go into this. So first of all, we built a platform that's really designed for scale in a number of ways. And one of them is the AI, every user has their own Senpi. So your own Senpi agent, and that agent has memory. It knows you, it knows your wallets, your portfolios, your P&L. It also knows your socials. So like what you do on Farcaster and X. And then it's able to synthesize as you ask questions, like for other people as well, but it has memory the kind of key thing, and that memory is getting richer and richer. So you're not starting from scratch every time you ask Senpi a question. And then we built for scale also in that there's all these different functionalities in Senpi. So like Senpi, for instance, there's everything from you can ask for social sentiment on a token, you can ask for the top whales of a token by holders or profits, or you can set up as a limit orders or copy trading. You can even have Senpi write a cast for you on Farcaster based on the responses. There's all sorts of things you can do with it. Each of those kind of functionalities of Senpi are built using open source plugins. And what that enables us and the whole community to do is to kind of scale Senpi infinitely. So anyone can write a plugin, and then there's a process by which you write that plugin, and then you request, basically you integrate it into Senpi, you request access available to have the user transact with your plugin using their Senpi wallet, which we'll talk about in a second. But this is like a platform that's all in place. And so this is like a key underpinning is that, the system is essentially every time we add more functionality or someone else adds another functionality, it's just as easy as writing a plugin, following kind of it's all open source. So you can kind of fork the plugins in our GitHub, and then you kind of learn how to then kind of integrate with the Senpi user wallet, have the user kind of give your plugin permissions, and then basically integrate into the Senpi system if we accept it as a pull request. So that's kind of the underpinnings. The wallet itself is kind of a cool innovation as well. So what we've done is it is a non-custodial wallet that so every user Senpi agent has a non-custodial wallet that they then give a shared permission to their Senpi agent to be able to execute automated trades or transactions on their behalf, but only specifically for what the user confirms that their agent can do. And so every time you ask Senpi to do something, so for instance, if I say, buy $100 of tokens for me if any two people from this group of traders buy $5,000 worth within 5 minutes of each other, blah blah blah, or sell when they sell, or all that kind of stuff. The agent repeats back to what you asked it to do, and then it can only do those things using the permission that you gave it for its wallet. And obviously, this involves very kind of important security and key management, but also the kind of the model by which makes sure that Senpi can't go rogue. But all that's been put in place by our team, and it really emblematic of the experience and kind of expertise of our team.
Wow. Yeah, that sounds similar actually to what we've done over with Agent Hustle. So I've a handful of questions trying to figure out which direction I want to go into. I guess we'll start a little bit more generalized as you decided to build on Base. There's a handful of other AI projects on Base, including Banker. Also, Coinbase itself has put a lot of emphasis into building out a suite of AI tools and infrastructure underneath the Coinbase developers kind of brand. What was your decision behind starting on Base, and then how has the ecosystem been towards Senpi and just the experience of all the AI developers on Base?
Yeah, I would say first of all, I'll start with the second part of the question, like why Base, and go back to the first, like other products and something like that. So why Base? I mean, first of all, Base is a great ecosystem for builders. We've been building in Base for a long time. We're very close with the Base team, with the Coinbase team. And our model, we basically said, is let's perfect it on Base and then expand everywhere. And so we do plan to go multi-chain. We do have a lot of chains that are coming to us and saying, hey, can you integrate our chain? Obviously, because Base is EVM, it's easiest for us to do more EVM chains first. But I'd say like we're rapidly, like every week, we're launching more features. Users are pushing us in terms of like other things they want to see, more automations, more things that Senpi can do for them. And once we feel like we've kind of achieved kind of a place where, okay, we can now extend this cross chain, then we'll start to do that. And the AI is really good for abstraction, right? And so making the user experience really easy. So for instance, like with a product like Senpi, the user is never going to even need to know what bridging is. They're just going to say, hey, if you spot this signal, buy these tokens for me, and the AI agent will just do it, and it won't matter if your money is ETH or USDC on Base and you're buying on Solana. Everything else will just happen under the hood. And that's, I think, this is how we scale crypto to the masses. Is we get rid of all the icky stuff, get rid of all the complexities, abstract everything away, And that's also, frankly, like abstract away the stuff where like you lose money when you go to sleep. Like that needs to be abstracted away as well, right? So like all the kind of the niceties that, right? So like yeah, so like one of the kind of the early kind of thoughts that we had when we were, or like people put in my ears when we were building this was, you know, crypto needs to be able to work while you're sleeping. It can't, because crypto is 24/7. It can't be that you're sitting there, never can go to sleep, or you have to sell your tokens before you go to sleep. And we heard story after story of, someone new to crypto, a friend said, hey, you got to buy this meme coin. It's, it's popping off. And so they buy it and then they go to sleep and they get wrecked. Right. And so we're like, okay, well, if we're really going to bring crypto to the masses, we got to fix that. And AI agents that auto trade, that protect your blind side, that, sell on certain triggers automatically for you. That's a key part of it. And then getting rid of, like, abstracting away all the technical kind of stuff, kind of ickiness as well. That's the other part of it.
Bro, if
in
you
terms
can
of, you mentioned
away losing money, you will crush in this industry.
So the most popular feature that we have right now, the automation we have on Senpi, is called sell when they sell. So what we do is we set up a auto trade. You can say, if these people buy for me. You can also say, like, let's say if 3 of these people buy within 5 minutes of each other and they buy more than a certain amount, buy me a certain amount. But then the key thing is then you can also say, and then sell when they sell, or if any one of them sells 50%, sell it all for me, right? And that way, like, if the people who got you in, if they start to exit, you're not left behind. And then, so it enables you to go to sleep essentially and not worry about getting wrecked. And we're gonna be doing a lot more things like that. A lot of things planned right now. Yeah. The other thing is, like, in terms of competition, like, we just think about building the best product out there. And we just think about our job is to get to serious product market fit where people love the product, it's making them money, and they're telling their friends about it, and all the rest will follow. And so we also, we see ourselves as very experienced, serious builders. We're putting everything we've got into this. And I think we don't think about competition, we think about customers.
It makes complete sense.
Yeah.
Tell me a little bit about the groups within Senpi. I think this is the first DeFi AI platform I've seen where there's this kind of social aspect of multiple individuals who could be within a group who are, it looks like, executing trades together.
So it's not exactly that right now. It will be soon. What it is right now is groups are really powerful. So what we enable you to do is you can use Senpi to essentially research and find people that you might want to copy trade, and then set up automations, as I was saying. So if any 3 of them buy within 5 minutes, at least $5,000 each, or 2,000, whatever it might be, then buy me $50 or $100, and then sell when they sell, or sell for 50% profit, all that kind of stuff, right? The key to that is like these groups. And so what we enable you to do is to find, Senpai now has P&L capabilities that you can analyze who are the whales, who are the highest profit traders for any token. And then once you find people, you can add them to a group. And so you can create a group. You basically tell Senpai, create the group. I'll just make it a Fartcoin, right? And it's like top P&L people on Fartcoin, or it can be people across multiple kind of coins. You create the group, and then you set up a rule. Basically, tell Senpai, you set up a rule for that group. And today the groups are all private to the user, so every user has their own groups. But we are working on a model where users can share those groups publicly, and then also, so if someone trades from your group, you actually can make some more money from that as well. So like, and what we're doing first is we're exposing the top, like basically P&L from the group, and then P&L from your trades from that group, and the P&L from trades from the users in the group. So it's really transparent to the user. Here's how you're making money, or here's how you're not making money, or here's how you're losing money. And then enable you to share that up publicly as well. And then I'll say copy trading isn't the only signal, but it was like the first one that we felt like, if there's people out there, especially with meme coins, who are getting in early, and if there can be a good signal, and then AI can help you kind of pick up those signals and automatically act for you, we feel like that's a good kind of first one. But we're working on other signals as well. So if a coin's launched by this person, or let's say I set up a group, let's call a group like Clanker, or I create a group Pump, whatever it is, and they're not my people with maybe it's top P&L clankers, or maybe it's people who are most successful at launching them, whatever it might be. You set up a group, and then you say, if any of these people launch a clanker. As long as it doesn't have a market cap of more than $10,000, buy it for me right now, right? And then so you basically just another type of automation you can set up using Senpi.
Wow.
I have here on the live stream. I've been kind of going through Senpi as you've been talking, and down here on the bottom, you have a button that says actions, and it kind of gives you these pre-generated prompts. So kind of, which is also classified by things by auto buy, portfolios, P&L, social sentiment, whale hunting base. This is something similar we did with Agent Hustle. You're trying to create this, like, you're trying to give the users, specific prompts to use, but also kind of creating a familiar experience. So I'd love to hear, from your perspective, how Senpi is going about, bridging the experience from, this traditional UX where everyone from, today and on before is familiar with a web extension wallet, clicking around and bridging. And then probably the majority of people who are net new users who are coming in are probably going to be more familiar with the prompting experience because they're going to be coming from ChatGPT. So how do you tend to merge those two experiences to make it somewhat frictionless for both types of communities?
Yeah, it's a great question. I mean, we spend a lot of time thinking about user experience and thinking also about how do we onboard new people to crypto. And, and one of the things I'll kind of start with is, if you think like 3 years ago, if someone said to you, there's a new product that's going to come along that is going to disrupt Google, you'd be like, yeah, right? But we've seen that happen with ChatGPT. And with ChatGPT is what it did is it used language as the interface for intelligence. And more people, myself included, they start with ChatGPT now instead of Google. And it's also, they realize that you also have a relationship with ChatGPT that you never had with Google. Like, you have a Google, you used it for search, but you didn't really feel like you had a personal relationship with it. But once you have intelligence involved, you start to build a relationship with the tool. And we see that as, this is the real opportunity that we are pursuing right now. With Senpi, that we feel like in the near term, Senpi is the most disruptive kind of type of product for crypto wallets. That most crypto wallets are just dumb key managers, and the user has to do everything themselves. And if you can use language as an interface and you use intelligence as kind of the backbone for this, you can enable users to have a relationship with their quote unquote wallet, where their wallet is actually helping them act smarter, faster, better, make more money, but also helping them find opportunities, thinking on their behalf. And so we look at like we're in the early days of that like today, Senpi acts based on your signals. So it's not based on, basically Senpi gives you signals and then acts based on your instructions. But where we see this evolving very quickly is Senpi is giving you intelligence, and then so it's helping you adjust your strategies. And then, obviously what we want to get to is really autonomous, where Senpi is just like running strategies for you based on a couple of inputs you have. We see that as like a progression we have. Starting now is like the key thing, because every time Senpi helps you score a win, or every time Senpi makes things easier for you, every time it kind of, protects your blind side, it builds trust. And actually one of the number one things Senpi users have asked us for is they want native Senpi apps, so iOS and Android. You're like, well, why? Users are asking us for apps. Why? Right today, and the reason is because they want notifications from Senpi. They want to have Senpi saying, "Hey, I spotted that basically showing intelligence, right? Building that relationship. I spotted that 2 whales in one of your groups that owns a token that you have are starting to sell. Do you want me to take action for you?" Right? And so it's prompting you. Do you want to take the action? Not just working on based on your instructions. And so we see that as like a massive opportunity here. Now, in order to make this work, it's not about kind of a LLM, so a language model versus a wallet model. It's how you bring these two things together, enabling users to get done what they want to get done the most efficient way possible. So you think with today, we've kind of slapped LLMs and let's say the action bar, like you're saying, on top of essentially a wallet or a DEX. And the magic's going to be how we merge all that together and make it feel like the tool just enables you to get done what you need to get done in a way where you have this kind of experience with your Senpi that you feel like you have kind of this intelligence and kind of capabilities that's beyond what most people in the market do.
Yeah, I completely agree. as you're merging all of these, experiences together, how are you guys going about adding new types of tooling? You obviously are kind of going after the traditional ones that are highly used across, the Telegram bot services, right? Things like copy trading, things like order limits, things like dollar cost averaging. But what comes next to, take this to the next level? Obviously, there's all the kind of DeFi features that can add, but is there anything else that you guys are looking to target that maybe nobody else is?
Yeah, I mean, I think that like what AI is really good at is analyzing and digesting information and providing intelligence. And so and we already have a lot of that within Senpi on things that it's not just like, we start with some of the things that bots could do, and then some of the things that because it's AI powered that can just do it so much better, and so much more intelligently. But then we also have things like, for instance, we find all of our research shows that when someone's discovering a token, the first thing they do is ask for sentiment analysis. So you go and see what are people saying on Twitter and a Farcaster about it. And so we start building sentiment analysis into Senpi as an example. We have a number of things where the fact that it's AI powered will come to be a huge advantage versus just a bot that is just following your instructions. And I think where you'll really start to see this though is as we move towards Senpi right now, as I said, there's memory. So when we're building up the memory capabilities, so it has more and more knowledge about you, about your trades, about your strategies. And it's also analyzing all the data as to what's working for you and what's working for others. And then you pump all that data into an AI so it can start to recommend strategies for you and help you optimize them and tweak them. That becomes something that you could never just do with a bot.
Yeah, I completely agree. What model are you guys using under Senpi? Is this something that you guys have created or using ChatGPT, Anthropic?
Yeah, so a couple things. So a couple cool things here. One is so I mentioned that Senpi is built on a number of different plugins, and every one of those plugins, we call them skills. Every one of those plugins for each feature or functionality on Senpi can actually use whatever kind of model it wants, whatever engine under the hood. And so actually, there's some of the skills we're using OpenAI, some that are using Anthropic. You use Gemini, you using Llama. It doesn't matter. And our team previously, when we built our own RAGs, we built our own kind of AI engine for AirStack. We forked Llama, and we were so really kind of capable of building kind of our own. Senpi has a main engine right now, which we actually have it set up so that it can use either Anthropic or ChatGPT, but then we've also building our own RAGs for the memory. So it's kind of a hybrid of using the best of what's out there, plus tweaking it for the specific use case and making it richer based on our team's experience.
Gets expensive quick, right, bro?
I would say the cost of ChatGPT and Anthropic relative to the revenue we're driving already, it's one of the cheapest things out there right now. Their costs are way down relative to the transaction. We're generating more in transaction fees right now by far than and this is within 3 weeks, within the first 2 weeks of launching, than we are paying ChatGPT and Anthropic. That's not the expensive part. The expensive part is when you're running your own systems.
One question for you around, and because I think we're very much aligned that we both feel what we're building is kind of the biggest onboarding experience to crypto, maybe ever, right? This is actually like we're at the start of basically the mass onboarding to crypto. The old wallet infrastructure was never going to be it, but this is actually it, right? So do you guys have any plans right now? Are you thinking about how you can actually start tapping into like Web 2 and getting Web 2 users? Or is it kind of just, no, we're leaning into Web 3 right now because this is where the crypto natives are. We'll get our product better and eventually move into Web 2. Like what's your thought on that?
Yeah, to be honest, we don't really think like Web 2 or Web 3. We think about if we build something that the next user and the next user and the next user says, okay, I started to use Senpi. It's helping me. It's got intelligence. I've started to build a relationship with it. I'm making some money with it. I tell my friends about it. We feel like that's like just grow one user at a time with one person tell the next. Our hypothesis here, but we're not sure if it's bear out or we'll see, is that the target users of Senpi to start are people who are Web3 native, who want to be able to trade like the pros, but don't want to use advanced kind of tools that a lot of the pros do. And we also give them a lot of things that the quote unquote pros can't do. But we feel like we're not necessarily going after like people who consider themselves advanced traders and are using like a kind of a mini trading desk. We're kind of looking for people who they want to trade in crypto. They want to play in the game, but they want to do so, safer, smarter, with a leg up versus others who are not. We think like that's the target. But we do think that the system we're building and the kind of the product we have is something that will help onboard new people into it very easily, so that someone new can kind of hear about it, come in and say, okay, this I know how to use. I don't need to worry about, what this coin is on, base, but I need to buy this token on Solana, or, I don't need to worry about if I'm sleeping, how am I going to sign a transaction? Let's take all that, abstract that all away, and just make it really, really simple, easy for people.
I completely agree. So you mentioned that you guys are generating revenue. Are you guys just have like a simple platform fee? Is that how the revenue is generated?
We don't charge anything at all. There's no charge at all to use Senpi. We only charge a small transaction fee every time you do an on-chain transaction. So you can use Senpi to do research. You can literally free access to P&L analysis for everyone on base, every token on base, all free. It's only when you make a trade through Senpi that there's a small transaction fee. And the way the transaction fee works today is it's 0.5% for simple swaps and 0.8% for automation. So less than 1% transaction fee, which is completely reasonable. What people are paying other products in crypto. And we're driving volume. $250,000 of volume in 2 weeks is a good start.
Yeah, those are some incredible numbers. Is there any plans for a token? And if so, how do you think tokens intersect with the agentic economy? We've seen the majority of tokens across all the DeFi platforms are currently more just like, I guess you'd say meme coins. There hasn't really the sector hasn't really gone into the utility aspect of a token. But where do you think those, collaborative opportunities are? And is it something that you guys are pursuing?
So we do plan to launch a Senpi token. And we do have a lot of theories on how Senpi will work as a protocol. We have that all planned out. We're taking a one step at a time kind of approach to it. We don't want to be just like a project that's out there kind of with a white paper selling hypium and kind of just the future. We're really focused on right here, right now, product market fit first. We will not launch a token until we have product market fit. And we really define product market fit as it is just clear that the model is working and there's revenue that's generating. And it's now time to, kind of pour fuel on that through the protocol. And we have a theory for how that's going to work, but also we're not in a rush. We're going to make sure that everything is lined up to do it really, really well. And those who know me from Farcaster will know that, I've said that our job is to create billions of dollars in value. And like people laugh, and I take that very seriously. So like, we don't want to launch a token that's worth $50 or $100 million. We want to create billions of dollars in value. And so we're very focused on first get to product market fit on a product that is 100%, is clear, is working, and you layer the token on in a protocol that is just going to, turbocharge it and build a bigger moat around it. That's kind of our focus on it. I'm unabashedly a utility token person. And so we will not launch a Senpi meme coin. Someone write that down, because if I ever do, we'll have to laugh about it. I said our default will be that we're building it's a protocol, not a meme coin. And we have, as I said, theories as to like how the protocol will factor into what we're doing. And so when we do launch a token, you can expect that it'll be used in the protocol. But yeah, as I said again, though, product market fit first. And product market fit means, it's like tons of users, they're making money, we're making money, it's working. And then the protocol aspects, it makes it work even better.
Yeah, I completely agree.
Chris,
Chris,
that's not everyone's. Not everyone has that model. I mean, there's a lot of others who say, and tokens are great for marketing if you do it right. Tokens are great for getting out there in the market and getting people to become aware of your project. We're focused right now on product market fit first.
Yeah, the most effective marketing is go up technology.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, your story is oddly familiar to ours from building in
I
2016.
love it. I love it.
A few businesses in between, a few pivots to ultimately realizing the vision and the opportunity of kind of reimagining the interface layer of crypto. And so props to you. And you have a working product, which almost no one has that we talk to ever, with some actual users. So it's super refreshing.
Yeah.
I love what you guys have built. Just kind of wondering on some of the internals, maybe. I mean, because through Agent Hustle, we see a huge spectrum of like what people use the platform for. And oftentimes like they use it for like more of like a GPT, general GPT, than kind of like a transaction assistant. I'm wondering how much of that you're kind of seeing, or are your users like much more guided and specific to actually transacting on the platform in general? I guess we could
Yeah.
start there.
I think we've really it's interesting because I think we always kind of like debated, like, do we want to say it's a trading platform or just say like it's an on-chain platform? And like our tagline is, on-chain GPT, for, because that's a lot of people when they first saw it kind of, describe it as. But I think we've come around very quickly to realizing that, okay, if we make money from trading, and we make money if our users are happy and they're making money. And we've directed like all of our roadmap right now is towards things that help people trade better, smarter, faster, easier, all kind of stuff. And so I'd say that, you know, the way we look at, like, all paths on Senpi today lead to a trade. So the features that we built that are not specifically trading features are things that help you get more, get smarter, gain more intelligence that lead you eventually to trade with Senpi. So it's, whale analysis, sentiment analysis, P analysis, whatever it might be. It all is getting you, towards that. And it's also building that trust with Senpi to then say, okay, I'll start with $500 in my Senpi wallet, then I'd make 1,000, then 2,000, then 5,000, and kind of ladder it up as I go. So yeah, and I'd say like, so the main usage for Senpi is trading, and we're quite comfortable and quite happy with that.
Love it. And then you've said some really interesting things specifically that we also agree on and kind of talk a lot about, which is, it was never really built to be like such an advanced trader. It was more of kind of an average user onboarding to crypto that can kind of change the way that they interact within the crypto layer. And then just like reducing user error. I mean, that's such an impact that we can have within the crypto ecosystem if we just simply reduce the user error within the ecosystem, because so many people have a fear of just losing all of their money immediately when they enter the ecosystem, which makes it really difficult for people to onboard to crypto. So I think that's super important.
Yeah.
And then another kind of question that I had was kind of regarding like your multi-chain strategy, your wallet layer, and like how do you plan on moving to, like, I'm guessing that you guys are non-custodial at the moment. If you aren't, how do you plan on moving forward? And then how do you plan on kind of like merging the chain experiences all under the hood into like one kind of seamless, kind of elegant experience for the end user?
Yeah, it's great questions. So today we use Privy for wallets, and the user does have a non-custodial wallet. They can they have their private key. They can import the wallet anywhere they want to use it elsewhere as well. And we've been working with Privy for almost 3 years now, and kind of growing with them, and very close with the team. And we feel confident that they're, world-class team, world-class security. They've raised a lot of money recently to continue pursuing that, their mission. So we feel very aligned with them, and they also work across multiple chains. And then obviously there's protocols that can help with kind of seamless bridging across chains. And we'll continue using Privy for as long as it meets our needs, and always make sure that it's kind of meeting the user needs. But that's for now is our solution.
Smashing it. And then I guess just last thing from me is AI is the biggest narrative that's ever hit any type of market ever. I think traditional markets kind of get that. Crypto is also like the second biggest narrative to hit the mainstream pretty much ever. Obviously the best performing assets of the last century. Why is it that it seems to be that people have such a hard time wrapping their head around this outward facing layer of crypto and AI? It seems like it's so overlooked and underdeveloped. And even though it's relatively new, ChatGPT is the biggest product in the world. Bitcoin's the best performing asset over the last decade. People seem to have a hard time wrapping their mind around that this is basically the interaction layer. Why do you think that there's such a disconnect there?
I think, if you look at the last 20, 30 years of technology, the biggest shifts we've always seen is when someone changed the interface. And, so it's like, the iPhone changed the interface, right? ChatGPT kind of changed the interface. Facebook changed the interface. Instagram changed the interface. Kind of basically changed the way people consume, information and interact with each other. And I think crypto hasn't had that moment yet. And I think there's still a lot of people are skeptical as kind of crypto as kind of an asset class. And but I think smart people realize that there's an opportunity here, just like just like what ChatGPT did to Google. There's an opportunity to do that to to bring that to crypto. And by the way, it also means more intelligence. And by the way, it means taking a lot of the icky stuff out of crypto, make it easier and more comfortable for users. So I do think it's a natural kind of convergence. I think what crypto, because everything is publicly tradable, it tends to have these kind of exponentially wild swings in the hype cycles. So for instance, what we saw back in let's say in November and December, I call it like the virtual cycle, where the market just went nuts for anything that was virtuals, because it was the only way for kind of people to let's say play VC or kind of bet on kind of crypto AI. And so, of course, people, it's like, gold rush, people just kind of like over invested into it, kind of because, you don't know which of these 10,000 agents is going to be the one that hits. So I'll pick 20 or 50 and invest in all of them, right? And hopefully one of them lands. But I think what was clear is like that was just like so early in this cycle that, this cycle is going to be, it'll be a couple of years as we figure out what this kind of, how crypto and AI converge and how do we bring crypto to the masses. But I no doubt, and I'm sure everyone's on this call, this space has no doubt that it will happen. And I think AI will be one of the key forces to making it happen. And when it happens, it'll be like one of those moments. It'll be like, oh yeah, that's so obvious that AI was the key to all this stuff. And it's almost like the relationship I have with ChatGPT today is it's become so strong that like I use ChatGPT before, as I said, before I use Google, but I also use it for like everything now. And the only thing I don't use it for is crypto. And so I think there's this opportunity now to be the intelligence layer for crypto. That's gonna be really exciting.
Yeah, on this show we like to excuse me. On this show we like to say that the next cycle incoming is the intelligence cycle, whereas last cycle was the attention cycle, right? It was all about kind of meme coins and SocialFi and such. And the cycle before that with NFTs was really the first attempt at a utility cycle of taking the NFTs and making them tickets and token gating and kind of doing all of this stuff, metaverse land, etc. So as we do move into the intelligence cycle, what other sectors of that do you think maybe are underlooked and could catch some attention outside of AI agents?
I have to think about that a little bit more, because I really think it's just it's gonna affect everything. And I think and it comes to guys, it hits. I think it's gonna be like it's so obvious in the end. And I know you mentioned before, like convergence of Web 2, Web 3. Like the way I think about it, for instance, is it's like if today I think about like the experience, like, and this completely made up as we talk about here, but let me say, like today, like you want to go from point A to point B, you open up your Uber app and you order a car, and you might see like the difference in pricing between two different classes of cars of Uber, but you're using just Uber app directly, right? And you can imagine, tomorrow you open up Senpi or some other. And maybe it's not even an app. Maybe you're just talking to it. Maybe it's on any device you want. Maybe it's WhatsApp. Maybe it's Telegram. Whatever it is. And you're saying, "Hey, I need to go to have coffee with John," and it's saying, "Here's 3 different prices I found for Uber, Lyft, and this new service, Telecar, whatever it is, or it's like instant taxi, whatever it is." And based on your previous preferences, I've got a instant taxi, selfless driver. It's going to be there, to pick you up in 5 minutes. It was the cheapest by 20%. And I just paid using your USDC in your wallet, right? And I think that convergence will happen, and it's going to happen everywhere. And people will have that experience. It's not going to be about I literally think everyone will have their own personal AI assistant that they talk to every single day that knows them and is able to do things like that for them in ways that's gonna affect every facet of life.
Yeah, I completely agree. One final question for me. I'm curious about how you guys go about sourcing data and building your kind of tool sets
Yeah,
for
yeah.
Senpi. Just through our own experience, right? You kind of have, when you're building these kind of DeFi agents, you build these different quote unquote toolkits, is what we call them, or toolboxes, for these different things like swaps or analysis, et cetera. And then you have to aggregate all of these different APIs with the rule set so to understand how they go about it. What is your guys' internal process? And then how do you go about, understanding which types of data sources are right for Senpi and which ones are not?
Yeah. This is actually the question. Actually, it's not just a good question. It's like the question. And I said, and the reason I say that is, AI is, as I said a couple of times, is really, really, really good at analyzing tons of data instantly and providing intelligence on it. But it's only as good as the data that it's able to analyze. And so if it's garbage in, it's garbage out. And the biggest, we've all seen like the MCP kind of hype craze. And I've seen so many products that are like, hey, we built this with all these MCPs. And it's like the data that these MCP servers are kind of providing to the agents is just garbage or like not very useful. And so the agent itself is not usable. And so data and the underlying data sets is something we take very, very seriously and very, very carefully. And in fact, like, so Airstack, our foundation is as a blockchain data indexing company. And so that was like, I think what's just uniquely positioned for this is that we've been working on, blockchain data, on-chain data for many years now. And we've taken a very curated approach. Is like, we take an approach that there's every function inside of Senpi has to work. So there can't be a single question that the user is, able to ask Senpi that cannot provide an answer. And so we're very sensitive to that. The data has to be accurate. The data has to be real time. It has to be, it has to always be kind of a reliable source. Otherwise, people will lose trust with Senpi as kind of their trusted kind of advisor, mentor, agent. Our approach overall is, so we, as I said, we've been indexing blockchain data for years now, and we at Airstack, 3 years ago, we built everything ourselves, everything internally. We had running every kind of indexer ourselves, and the approach we've taken now has been actually, we always start with, is there a third-party source that we believe can give us speed to market to test the concept? It has to be accurate. So we look and see, so we do a lot of testing and be sure that that is accurate and reliable. And then we try to launch it, get in front of users, and use our internal kind of, let's say, magic or expertise to make sure that it kind of the orchestration of that with everything else we have and at Senpi, and make sure it's like works well for the users. And then we did make a decision, okay, is this something we then want to take on ourselves in-house or continue using a third party for? But we don't start today with kind of we must index everything ourselves. I think that's a very foolish strategy and will cause you to get bogged down and go bankrupt very quickly. But then the other hand is, if you use third-party sources, you always have to be making sure that they're reliable and trustworthy, and then how you test that and how you interact with that is going to key parts of this.
Awesome. Actually, one more final question.
Yeah.
What are your guys' thoughts, and how does Senpi going about agent-to-agent communications? Do you guys have an MCP or an SDK, and is there an ability to build with Senpi, or to have Senpi communicate with other agents?
Yeah, so essentially we do have this already, we just call it something different. So we have Senpi is built on, today it's built on a framework that integrates any ELISA, so ELISA OS, any ELISA plugin can be a developer can, with a couple of days work, kind of convert it into a Senpi skill and issue a PR for our team to accept it as a skill in Senpi and offer it up to end users. And there are several already that are, most of the skills that are built by our team, because we're just really focused on, if we don't build it early on, no one else will. But now more and more third-party developers are now integrating with Senpi. And what that does is that essentially enables your agent, so to speak, your plugin, to integrate with Senpi and have users, Senpi agents and wallets be able to use that skill. And you can say when I said that we have plans for how Senpi becomes a protocol, you can imagine that that's at the core of it, is how, like, whether it's a Eliza plugin or a MCP or whatever it might be, that Senpi can communicate with it and make users agents can interact and transact with it. That would be at the core of the protocol that we have planned out. So that's one layer. Then the other layer is how do we bring Senpi elsewhere? And that's something we get asked for a lot recently, a lot faster than I think we expected. And we have some thoughts on it, but it's not the focus right in this moment quite yet.
Awesome. Yeah. Also asking from somebody in the crowd asked, and I was also curious as well. We recently had an AI XBT integration into Agent Hustle, and we're always looking for different ways to collaborate with other agentic builders in the space from multiple areas. So,
I mean, we think about it. We are open. Like, so every Senpi skill plugin is open source. We want, we have a framework that's published that anyone can read and can integrate with. We want to work with everyone. Right now, it's just about focus and like making sure that we do what we do really well versus trying to do everything poorly. And so just very focused right now on kind of delivering a great customer experience to Senpi users.
Totally understand that. Adam, any final questions for Jason?
No, I love it, man. Yeah, I don't have any other questions. I think, you guys are completely legit. It's great seeing legit builders out here. I think, we've interacted. You see Heian on there. They're doing some amazing stuff too, but there's so much smoke and mirrors. It's nice to meet up with somebody who's actually like building a great product, man. So great to meet you.
I really appreciate that. I'd say like maybe our problem is we're too real, because like a lot of people are out there. That is very unapologetically real.
How do you create hype and interest, right? If there's not something hype in, like we've seen, and I'm not going to name names, but you see it too, right? They have $100 million stuff, and they literally have. You go to their site and you try to interact with their product, and their product literally doesn't work. It does nothing. It's not even a chat.
I'll tell you one thing though. I'll tell you who smells through this. So we have like VCs coming at me every single day saying, "Hey, we've tried every product in the market. Yours is the only one that really works." I'm like, I like that. That's good. Let's start there. And we're very much focused unapologetically on real product right now, not just selling hype. And so it's not going to get us $100 million token valuation today, but it is going to get us real customers and loyal users and build relationships over the long term.
Yep. And that is the most important. Jason, I appreciate you for coming on and, sharing this Senpi story. Definitely have a fan here and a user, and we'll stay in touch. And I hope at some point in the future we can collaborate, but I'll continue to be following you and your journey, and look forward to, you building out something super awesome and sweet on.
Thank you. You guys are awesome. I gotta dive into your product. I really feel bad I haven't spent enough time on it. Just been so focused on Senpi, and so now I'm gonna dive into what you guys are building.
Totally. Dude, you'll be surprised. There's quite a lot of similarities from the strategies to the memory. It's just we're on Solana, you guys are on Base. It's really kind of awesome. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us.
Let's bring the two together then. Let's figure out a way to bring it together. Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right, I'll shoot you a DM after this, and we'll set up a Telegram chat, and then we can continue from there.
All right, thanks guys. Take care.
Yeah, appreciate it. Appreciate everyone who joined us. We are going to be hosting a live stream later today at 5 p.m. with Soul Maniac, doing the Hustle live streams, just going through some of the cool experiences, just integrated launch lab that's going to be announced here pretty shortly. Until then, everyone have a safe Tuesday. We'll see you guys later this afternoon or Thursday at 10 a.m. Pacific.
Take care.
Later, guys.